sun peeks over the horizon. Your excitement builds. The animals in the field start to stir. The forest comes alive with sounds. The sunlight glimmers off the lake, and the mountains start to shed their morning fog. So load up your favorite ammo, grab a few buddies, and head out to make some memories. And tell the rest of the world that you've gone hunting. Gone hunting is a 1 to 4 player game of family fun where you build a unique hunting ground, scout different animals, buy weapons and gear, and roll dice to hunt. Complete objectives and try not to miss. So let's load up the truck and back gone hunting today. See you.
Hey guys, it's Big Sexy with Big Sexy Outdoors. If you guys are looking for your bucks to be big and sexy like me, I recommend you go out and get yourself some Big Sexy by Domain. This product is filled with radish, turnips, and kale, and other vegetation to keep the deer coming back all season long. Go out to your local Tractor Supply and purchase some today. Big Sexy by Domain.
Alrighty. There we go. Sorry, I heard a loud rumble here. I don't know if it was thunder or if a truck just ran into the front of the house.
I'm pretty sure it's thunder because I heard it at my house. Unless that truck was so big, it's like 35 minutes long and ended up sweeping back to hit ours too.
But I always heard you had a big truck, but I didn't want to say
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Compensates.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to Zach. He's on his way in. He's going to hit the link after the intro and sign in, and he'll be right here.
Yep. And the cool part is, guys, we had set up before Zach got on. Well, before we started, Chris had a cool video he wanted to share. So, Tony, I know you're watching my little, what do we want to call them? Tagged out. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it. Chris has a little surprise for you. So, check this out.
This was caught on the, I forget which one it was. I know it was one of the cast trays.
Yep, it was a clear one.
Yeah. I just don't remember what the name was. But yep, had him out. I think they took him out around 5 in the morning. And sure enough, 10-incher, that's one of the ones he got.
Yeah. 10-inch bass. Yeah, a little drag's going on that little rod.
I know.
I love that. Sounds like he's got a 4-footer on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he likes it.
I have some cast cray videos we're going to pop up. Not today, but I have some in the works that will pop up. Hey, there he is.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Zach? How are you, buddy?
How's it going? Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm trying to get my phone to go into landscape mode here.
To lock the orientation.
Oh, yeah. I thought you had your chair glued to the wall and you were sitting on.
Oh, I don't know why this isn't. Oh, there's auto rotate. I don't know why that was off. Okay.
Hey,
there we go.
Now he's on the floor.
Yeah, that's better.
So how
are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good, man. I spend, you know how it is. We spend just about every day we can out fishing or doing something right now. So hunting ain't in, fishing is. And we try to spend a lot of time doing what we can in it.
Good.
How about you? So before we start, let's make sure we introduce you. That would be terrible. So this is Zach with Half Paced Outdoors. Zach, we met. It's another awesome person we met out at the Freezer Bound Outdoors Rendezvous. We actually set up a tent right aside of him.
Yep.
And when I say a tent, I mean Chris's mansion.
Yeah, that thing was as big as my cabin.
And we got taught. He was one of the first guys we set up, talked to, got to know. And that was throughout the days we were there. It wasn't just, a few minutes. So it was a lot of fun. Come over at the end of the night and we BS till I fell asleep in a chair. Chris was like my mom. Chris was like my mom and how to send me to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So-
it was a good.
It was a great time. Now that was what, your second? Yeah, it was your second time there, you said, right? Third time.
No, that was my first year.
Oh, first year. Okay.
Yeah, that was my first year.
So let's ask, what'd you think?
I had a great time there. That was the second rendezvous that I'd ever been to, but the first one of Freezer Bounds.
Okay, maybe that time.
So, yeah, it was, and it was a whole different experience from the other one that I'd been to. Like Freezer Bounds actually made everybody feel included. You know, it actually felt like a big family there. And the other one that I was at was down in Kentucky, and you know, it was some good people down there, but the environment was very. Everybody was kind of in their own little cliques, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was a good time, but it wasn't like it was at Freezer Bounds. Freezer Bounds was just an awesome time.
Does that mean we're going next year?
Oh, absolutely, and I think next year I'm going to be bringing my oldest son with me too.
I
Nice.
said the same thing. I'm like, dude, we're taking a whole team next year. That was just again. Hey, you ain't even got to bring nothing to sleep in because Chris's tent is so big we can fit probably.
We can fit everybody there.
It was huge. Oh.
The one thing in conversation that we got back and forth is that you got out a little bit, and there was a reason you got out. So I'm gonna let you tell your story a little bit. One thing I love about Half Pace, your story matched your name. I felt like everything matched. I always say God has a reason and a plan, and I feel like yours just comes together. So it all comes. So I'll let you tell your story here, and we're gonna butt out and just ask some questions along the way.
It did. Half Pace was just a very natural name when I was even trying to come up with a channel concept. So Half Pace because I walk around with a limp. I mean, you guys notice that. Everybody's going to notice that. It's what keeps me there. So
let me add something to that, and it doesn't stop him. I watched
Oh,
him set up
absolutely
a tent.
not.
I watched him do his stuff. If you watch his videos, guys, it does not stop him. I apologize. I had to add that.
No. It absolutely does not stop me. You know, I might be slowed down, but I definitely don't let it stop me. So back when I was 17 years old, I'm 36 now. And I actually just turned 36 after the rendezvous. So
Happy birthday.
thanks. Back when I was 17, I had a surgery that's called an AV spinal fistula. And what that is there is 4 main arteries that feed your spinal cord with blood, and 2 of mine were malfunctioning. And they started malfunctioning because I had a tumor removed 2 years prior to that. But that tumor removal was, I mean, it was a big surgery, but I came out of that perfectly fine. So when I had the one at 17, when I woke up, they told me I was never going to walk again. And in 4 days, I was heading out of my room and down the hospital hallway with a walker. So I spent like a month in physical rehab. And then I was on a walker for about a year. And then I was on a cane for a couple of years after that. And one day I was out walking in the woods and I got tired of tripping on the cane. So I left the cane behind for about 10 years before I had to pick it back up. But struggling with depression and all of that kind of stuff that naturally comes along with going through something like that at 17 years old, I got out of the woods for a long time. And so when I met my wife and it was the middle of winter, I was burned out from being stuck in the house, and I was just staring out the window. We moved out to her family farm, and I grew up in town, you know, so I had 77 acres to go play on now. And she talked me back into going back outdoors. So I started running a trap line. It was the middle of winter. I taught myself everything that I do as far as hunting and trapping. You know, I had Boy Scouts growing up, so that was my camping and survival education, which is still something continuing. I don't think that's something you ever stop learning. Any of those skills, really, those are lifelong, you know, lifelong learns. You're always teaching yourself something new. So a couple of years of being back out in the woods, trapping, hunting, getting back into camping, I decided to make a YouTube channel. And that was kind of how we ended up at Half Pace Outdoors. I wanted to kind of represent for the spinal cord injury community and the survival and outdoors game. You know, there's only a few other guys out there doing it. And when it came to the surgery that I had to have, it was it's still a pretty rare surgery. There's only like I think now maybe 10,000 cases around the entire world per year. And my surgery was 10 years ago. Well, I take that back, 17 years ago. So at that time, the doctors had really no practice in what they were doing. I had to sign multiple waivers. My mom and dad had to sign waivers just for them to perform the surgery. And, you know, I like I said, I woke up without the use of my legs, but I never once had held any kind of ill will towards the doctors. They did everything that they could do, you know, and if it wasn't for their work, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So a couple of years ago, I was getting really into the YouTube game. You know, I was almost at 1,000 subscribers, and the first big thing that happened, this one's a little hard for me to go back to, but it is a big reason of why I had to walk away from YouTube for a while. I watched my grandfather's house burn to the ground. So we went through I lived 20 minutes away. At the time, I lived 20 minutes away, and I beat first responders to their house. So me and my brother and my mom dealt with that night. And between that, like right after that, me and my wife bought the off-grid property.
And this you're excited about. This is something I know you're really excited about. This your love for what you did here was awesome.
Yeah, we bought an off-grid property. We actually were in the process. We had made the offer before my grandfather died, and we closed like a week after he passed away. And we'd lost my grandmother a couple months before that. And then it was like 7 years before that, we lost my wife's father to a rare cancer. And that was how we ended up having ownership of the farm, and we ended up selling out of the farm to get this property, was from her dad passing away. But when we were looking for land, I told my wife, I said, your dad and my grandmother are going to make sure that we have food on this property. And they're going to make sure that we have everything that we're going to need on the property, like on the property that we go find that's going to be home. They're going to make sure everything we need is going to be there. This was the only property when we rolled up to, there was rabbits on the road. There was a deer that ran across the road. And then when we pulled up and was looking into the gate, there was berry bushes everywhere. Our property is absolutely polluted with wild blackberries, like not black raspberries. We have actual wild blackberries. And in my area, it's kind of rare to find them. And we went and looked at a couple other places, and we just ended up coming back here. And we're a half mile long from front to back, but we're only like 145 feet wide, so we're like a little skinny Band-Aid lot. But we're connected to 120 acres of woods, and we're like right on we're like 2 properties in from the edge of those woods. So we got all kind of turkey running through out here. We got all kind of deer running through. The squirrel population is crazy. It's been an awesome experience living out here. And we built, we're completely off grid. We're not the only connection that we have to any kind of service is our phones and our internet now. And we went with a cellular internet because we're a quarter mile off the road. So we have no power lines or conduits running from the road to the house site. We have a 2,000 watt solar array hooked up to 6,000 watt inverter capacity. We have a 24 volt, 800 amp hour battery system. And I just did an expansion on that, and I was emailing with Power Queen, who's our battery manufacturer, and they gave me a real good deal on batteries. So we're about to double the size of our battery bank, and I'm just waiting for those to get shipped in.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring you down when I do mine.
Living off the grid.
You gotta teach me.
Man, I'm telling you what, the solar stuff was so incredibly easy to figure out how to do. I kicked myself in the ass because I didn't take the 6 months prior and just figure it out. I was kind of intimidated by it, and I didn't have anybody to help walk me through this other than owner's manuals. And I had an electrician's, a homeowner's electrical book from Home Depot. And those were the only 2 resources I had for putting the entire solar system together. And the first time I had my wife record it, I said, watch me flip this switch and nothing's going to turn on. And I flipped the switch and nothing turned on for about 2 to 5 seconds. And then it all fired up, and I was just pumped, man. And I told her later that day, I said, Grandpa was with me when I was setting that solar stuff up, because there is no way that I did all that completely by myself and didn't screw something up. But yeah, we've done, the only thing out here that we haven't done was build the little cabin that we're living in right now. But we hand cut the driveway in a quarter mile. I laid all the stone in with my I got a 1964 International Harvester, little 50 horsepower tractor I bought for like $2,500 off Facebook Marketplace. And that's what I laid my entire driveway in with. You know, we didn't have a big bulldozer come out and plow trees over, nothing like that. We kind of followed a hard pack through the woods that we found, and then that we laid our driveway on top of it. It was a year later I found out that that was a wagon trail that went through our woods at one time.
Oh, nice. So it just all worked. You could kind of see it, and it was your vision, and somebody else had the same one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, and there wasn't like it wasn't like a clearing through the woods either. You know, like when you find old logging roads and things like that that are overgrown, you can just kind of see the difference in the vegetation. You know, this had real old trees growing on it. There was no real indication of the hard pack there. It was just where we ended up going. And then there was a lot of lost history to this property until I finally met the guy who owned the property across the street, because he doesn't live there. He's only here like every couple of years for a winter and then goes wherever he goes.
Travels all over.
Yeah.
So do you do, so I'm going to ask this, you get this property, you have it. By the way, I have to add before we start that it's hilarious that Chris pulled you up in your chainsaw mask and muffs the moment you talked about cutting trees. And I don't know if he had that planned or not, but I chuckled because I was like, that's great.
That's my job.
But so you're on this property, clear out your path. I know you said you had your cabin was more hauled in, right? You hauled that in? Isn't that how that worked?
Yeah, we actually had the cabin hauled in. We were living out here in an RV to start.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And we have, my oldest one was 7 at the time, and my youngest one was 2. And then we had 3 dogs that were all over 75 pounds. So the RV just became impractical, and it was an older unit. There was no way it was going to make it through the winter time without bursting water lines and things. So we sold the RV and we bought a little 12 by 24, like one of the shed cabinet kind of things. And it's a little black and white. It's got a front porch, and it's got a little like barn gambrel roof design style on it. And then last summer I built a matching in size. It's a 12 by 24, but it's just got a slant roof on it. And it's our utility shed. Well, it's going to be our utility shed, but right now it's like our utility shed, my workshop, our storage space.
Well, you're living off the grid, man. This is just like watching Meet the Browns out in Alaska. I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
Say that again, Chris?
No, I was just going to say a lot of people don't realize that that is how we did it back in the day. We went out and we staked claim and we put up the same style that you're doing here. It's something I've always thought about doing. I would love a piece of property like that, and to be able to set up and do all of that. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's been an adventure, man. I mean, we had the opportunity to go buy a house, you know. We had we had so many different options that we could have taken, and when we sat down with what we had as a buyout offer, and we sat down with our options in hand, and we came back to this place. This is just where we were drawn to.
So,
and I mean, we checked out a couple of really nice houses. The one house I was kind of arguing with her to get, because it was 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, had a 2-car garage, had a barn out back, but it was only on 3 acres, and we wanted 5 at a minimum. And we would have had to finance a little bit if we would have ended up with that property. But this one, like I said, we had our options in our hands, and this is where we ended up at. Where I have a buddy that does concrete work, he does like commercial concrete work. So he's doing an out of town job working for Harbor Freight right now. And when he comes back at the end of July, he's coming in and he's going to drill our foundation holes, and he's going to pour in all of our foundation piles so that we can actually start building our house.
So that was a question I had. I know you talked about building the house, so you're actually going to build it in piers.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but when I think of living off the grid, I think of all these Alaskan shows I've seen in my lifetime, and there's a million of those. So you're gonna put concrete piers up. You're gonna frame off of the concrete piers and just go from there.
Yeah, the concrete work is the only thing that I'm not doing, and it's just because my to-do list is already big enough. So I'm going to have somebody come in, do our concrete and set me up with the basics on the foundation, and I'm building from the foundation all the way up to the roof vent.
Now, are you using logs right off your property?
We're going to be using some, but mainly it's going to be dimensional lumber brought in. We're building a 24 by 48 foot A-frame. So
Okay.
it's a pretty big home. Now our plan, this could change. Our plan is to use our hickory trees. We have hickory trees in the back of the property, and we want to use those every 10 feet as like parts of the A-frame roof.
Absolutely.
And we're going to leave those logs every 10 foot. They'll be exposed members so that you'll be able to see like the skeleton of the house.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love that old look, man. I love that. I love everything going back. I think what you're doing is freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but I think it's freaking awesome. I think going back to living off the grid is exceptional way of living. I tell my kids all the time, when you guys are grown and gone, Papa's living in the woods. So what you're doing is like my dream. That's where I want to be. So I think it's awesome. I just think what you're doing is amazing. And the fact that your wife supports you and your kids are, help tag along is amazing. But in the middle of all this, it gives you so many cool opportunities to shoot YouTube videos, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now that I'm getting back into it, the other part of why I left was the bladder surgery that I had to go through.
Can you read that comment? I think that's a really good comment you need to see.
Yeah, but this one is 100% your own blood, sweat, and tears. That makes it so. Mark, you're absolutely right, man. It's and literally my own blood, sweat, and tears too, because I put an axe in my foot for this place last winter.
Sorry, I'm not laughing. You're like, really? I did bleed for this place.
Yeah, like no joke. I have bled for this place, man. And right now we're actually in the process of drilling our own well. So again, we're not having a company come in and do it. I have this drill bit that's on a T-handle, and we have to turn this thing into the ground. And it's got an auger bit that slides up and down of the drill bit. So you fill that auger and you pull the auger out, your drill bit stays in the ground. And I tried this 2 years ago, and I hit water at 40 feet. I have 70 foot of drill pipe to use. I hit water at 40 feet. I went out the next day to start drilling more, and I had a cave-in that made me lose 25 feet. So I was just completely destroyed by it. So we backed the drill completely out, filled it in, and we built a rainwater catchment system.
I got to ask, is that where the tears came in?
Yeah, pretty much. That well, I actually sacrificed a phone to it too. I had my phone in my back pocket, and I was doing like a backwards crab crawl. I don't know why, but I was doing like a backwards crab crawl to grab something behind me. And my phone, like I just came perfectly over the well hole, and my phone came right out of my back pocket and down the well hole. And I panicked. I looked around for about 20 minutes I'm like, did I really just do that? There's no way. I just put my phone, like, I think I was at 30 feet at that time.
Oh my God.
And I happened to be looking down the hole, and I think it was my wife had tried calling me, and the screen lit up. And I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do?
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
Oh, no.
That's
I
when reality hit you right there.
I was laughing so hard, and I was in panic mode because I'm like, my phone is 30 foot down this well. How am I going to get this out?
They're never going to believe you.
Oh, I tried. I hooked all of my shop vac hose together. I got like 30, 40 foot of shop vac hose. I could not get a hold of my phone with the end of that shop vac to pull it up. At the end of the day, I said, screw it. And I just started drilling away, and I ground my phone out of that well bit by bit by bit, man. It was a nightmare. Getting the battery, when the battery exploded, that was the worst part. It expanded in the drill bit. And it was like I had to use a 4-foot crowbar with the end of the crowbar planted on a shovel. And me and my wife was pulling up on the end of the crowbar to winch the auger out because the phone battery expanded in the bit and blew up. It was an absolute nightmare.
So did you get an extra couple feet when it blew up? Like,
no, it didn't blow up like an explosion. No, like it made a couple popping sounds, and then a bunch of smoke came out of the hole, and that was it. It didn't like boom. As great as that would have been.
That's what happens when I think too much. A little bit of popping and smoke.
Yeah.
So you're living off the grid, you're building your own house, and I love this. I love that you're living off the grid. So I got to go back to, people need to understand, not only you're living off the grid, but you're doing it with a limp. I mean, it's not a little limp. And so, you know, us guys are getting around, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm fat. And I see you get around, and I'm thinking, dude, this guy's killing it. I mean, after hearing your story and you know, you're going to give up and not YouTube anymore, and then you decided I'm going to go back to it. I could tell in our conversation out there that when you brought up living off the grid, that was something you were proud of, man. Like Chris and I both said that night, he's proud of this. This was something we could just feel, you know, that is a passion for you.
It wasn't somewhere that we ever thought we were going to end up or had a want to be until we were like, okay, this is for whatever reason, this is what we think is best. And, you know, I always wanted like an off-grid camp up north in like Maine or Alaska or up in Canada or something like that. You know, I didn't necessarily want to live this lifestyle. And, you know, just the more that we weighed our options, it was just, it was what was best. And yeah, like Mark said earlier, you know, it's your own blood, sweat, and tears. So when you get the work that goes into something like this, I mean, you guys can understand the work that goes into just owning a home, okay?
Oh my God.
You know, I've played that game multiple times now. You know, owning a home is a hell of a lot of work. You know, when you decide to take on something like this and you actually start pouring into it, man, it becomes a whole other part of what you got going on. And, you know, I am out here. See, I'm not one to try to play this whole game, but I guess I gotta in a way. I'm not one to sit here and say, you know, I'm disabled. I have fun with it when I say I'm a cripple. I'm a cripple all day long. You know, but I don't like
saying that to us, and I was like, why is he saying that? You're not. I mean, I get where you're at, maybe, but you're not. I mean, you just keep doing what everybody else does.
It's because of the way I carry it, though. Crippled means broken.
Okay, fair enough.
And I am broken. My body is broken. More so now over what I've had to go through over the last year with the bladder surgery and having to see, and this is what brought me back to YouTube. what I have had to endure and what I have had to adapt to continue being outdoors is something that I think can help a lot of people. And not even necessarily just people who are disabled and want to get outside. You know, the way that I have to approach things and have had to adapt to get back out there can open the doors to a lot of possibilities for people to travel farther distances outdoors. And that's kind of the whole thing with half pace. You know, you might be a little bit slow getting there, but you can't give up, and you're going to end up getting where you're going.
I love that.
So,
just so you know, I love that. I love that. Half pace and what it means. I love that. That's inspiring. That's what everybody needs to do. Be inspired. Keep doing what you're doing.
yeah, I mean, you know, when you finally find your passion in life, and I had to rediscover mine. You know, it relit that spark to want to get back out there and be in what I loved being in when I was a kid, and that's out in the woods. Now for me, I like my biggest adaptations for getting back outdoors has been dropping pack weight and learning how to live off the land more. So a big part of our homestead journey here has been learning to, you know, we don't want to just clear the land out and start cutting in farmlands and things like that. You know, we do want to have a garden when the house is built and we have time to tend things like that. But right now, our biggest lessons are learning our wild resources on our land. And in doing that, it also gives me better confidence in getting outdoors and being able to carry less pack weight. That's less food that I got to carry when I know that what's out there in the wild that I can eat. And
so what are we eating? Let me ask you that. What are we eating? I love it because now I know you're finding stuff. What are you finding? What are you eating?
Well, I've started learning how to forage different mushrooms. So I've actually figured out, you know, growing up, my parents and my scoutmasters were like, no, all the mushrooms in the woods will kill you. And I'm actually learning it's kind of the opposite way around. There's very few mushrooms in the woods that'll kill you or make you see things. Most of them are perfectly edible. They might require cooking, but they're edible.
Ram's head. Oh my God, I love ram's head.
And then chicken of the woods is probably my favorite mushroom. And it just happened to be the first one that I ever found in the wild and was like, oh, what's this? I'm going to take some home and see if we can eat it. And we could eat it. And it was chicken of the woods is absolutely delicious. Mark, we all deal with our own things in different ways, man. And, you know, it having to adapt to after the bladder surgery. So my bladder surgery was a bladder augmentation. They had to go in and make my bladder bigger. And that was a result of my spinal cord issues. So a healthy bladder is about yay big. My bladder shrank to yay big. And that was all I had. So I was having problems with urine pushing back up into my kidneys. And it damaged my kidneys to a point that I live with stage 2 kidney disease. And now they're healing. I put a shorts up on my channel the other day. I actually got a really good note from the doctor. My blood work came back. My kidneys are as healthy as a normal, functioning, healthy adult instead of just healthy for somebody in my shoes. Yeah, there you go. And so that's been a 2-year fight to get me to this point. Okay, I have a workbench mouse that keeps running across here, and he's just making his presence known.
All right, are you going to eat him?
No, I'm not going to eat the mouse.
Hit him with a little toothpick, bow and arrow.
I think he might be a messenger for the Fae that are in my woods.
God is good.
I know
man.
me and Chris talked about this a little bit. I was actually out there today burying a wire, Chris, and I could hear one like running behind me. And as soon as I started trying to film, it I think it stepped away or it quit for a while because he didn't hear him no more.
Mm-hmm. There's something I wanted to ask back on the mushroom thing. Now, I'm personally a guy who cannot stand mushrooms. I absolutely not. I won't, not on pizza, not even hidden in anything.
Come on, Chris.
No, I'm serious. Like you and onions, son. So what's so different with the chicken of the forest? What do they call it?
Chicken of the woods.
What is that?
It is it's a bright orange mushroom, but the texture and taste is like chicken meat.
What?
Actually, yeah, that was a great way to sum it up.
It tastes just like chicken.
Get out.
That's a great way to sum it up.
A little bit of garlic butter, and it was like garlic chicken. It was amazing.
Huh. Well, now I got to start looking for them.
I like ram's head because I think if you slice them thin enough and cook them, I think they taste like steak.
Ram. I don't think we have ram's head here in Ohio.
They look like a brain. Like they got real big. And
oh no, we don't have those.
Oh, I love them things here in PA.
I'll have to come over to PA and see if I can find one then, because now I'm interested.
I used to have a buddy who would send me them all. I didn't have to ever forage because he'd find them for me. He'd call me and be like, yo, I got so many of these. You want them? I'd be like, oh my God, yes. They were awesome. Bob Chase says that's awesome to hear about your kidneys.
Yeah, I saw that, Bob. Thank you.
And he says he's talking about the sheep's head or hen of the woods.
Oh, okay. Hen of the woods. I know what hen of the woods is. So hen of the woods is what you call ram's head.
I never heard it called hen of the woods. I call it ram's head. I'm telling you, it's a big ball about this big. Now, it depends how, that's a couple year mushroom. That's not one that just started. But it's a big ball about this big. And it looks like a brain almost. It has things that run. Oh my God, they're so good.
Yeah, okay. I am okay. Now that Bob is saying that, because I've seen hen of the woods and we have those. And I'm kind of seeing the resemblance because when they get in a big ball cluster.
Yep, probably the same thing.
Yeah.
Listen, Bob knows his shit. And I say shit, but Bob knows his shit. That guy knows his stuff.
Oh.
That guy, I tell you what, that guy got bigger cojones than all of us put together in this room.
Well, I mean, the dude's holding a snake.
Yeah, let me tell you what. He's a fun guy to be around, too. Let me tell you what. So how about deer, squirrel? Like you said, I realize you're foraging off. How about berries? Eating any berries? Like your family? What's your main meal here?
Yeah, we harvest the berries off the land. This will be our third season doing it. We've owned the land for 3 years, but we've lived here for 2. So every year we've come out picking the berries. I take about 10 to 15 squirrels off the property every year. And this year was the first year that I actually had an opportunity to take a deer off the property. So I put after she was field dressed, it was about 95 pounds, a little shy of 95-pound doe. And I kind of felt like I was cheating because I shot her right off the front porch in my shorts. Hey, it was gun season. No, me and my kid had just put a little bit of corn out, and I was just thinking about watching the area with a camera for a little while. the next day, because usually when we put corn out, it takes them 24 hours to come across our property and get into it. And it took them like an hour. And I looked down there and I could see 2 or 3 of them bobbing around, picking up corn. And they said it was kind of cheating, but I don't know. There's kind of a difference to me between harvesting and hunting. If you're going to harvest one that's kind of on your land, you're harvesting over bait. You're harvesting out of, and I'm not prejudiced against anybody's hunting. I don't want anybody to think that. Hunt the way you hunt, man. That's what makes you happy. That's what matters. Harvesting. You're harvesting over bait. You're harvesting out of a blind. You're harvesting out of a tree stand. You know the patterns of where you're hunting and what they do. When you're hunting, you're kind of in more unfamiliar ground, off the beaten path. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hunting is have to find it. You have to work for it. You have to
Exactly. Hunting, fair chase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At any point you want to make it easy for me, let me know. I have no issue shooting one of my underwear.
Absolutely not. I mean,
now, Ben, how did the deer get in your underwear?
See, now that's the real question.
Okay, I have a really dumb question. It's kind of off track. But if I have underwear made of corn, is that still baiting?
It might be a human rights violation in some.
I might be onto something there. Yep, I might be onto something. You guys both question that. Now, does that now mean I have to wear fluorescent orange underwear?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look funny and
as long as you got the toboggan hat with it, I think you'd be okay.
Yeah, as long as you got the inches, right?
Imagine how stupid that would look: corn underwear and an orange hat walking through the woods.
Hey, I'll make a video.
That'd be priceless, though.
That would be cool. That would be an awesome video to shoot. That's for sure. Chris, you're up.
That would be viral.
That'll be the next one. We'll get.
The only thing cooler would be if a deer actually ate off of it.
No. That's all right. You go for that one there, fella.
Oh,
yeah. Speaking of cool things that are up next, what about your new venture?
Yeah. So a guy that I grew up with in Boy Scouts, he has polio, so he walks around on crutches, and we started a new channel called Cryptid Cripples. And so on my channel, I'm kind of taking a little bit of a different way than the outdoors content. We're still going to be doing the outdoor stuff, but I'm doing solo investigations on my channel. Mm-hmm. I've had encounters on our land that I don't want to say have left me uneasy, because that's not what's going on out here. Whatever, I think, okay, I don't know any other way to put it. I think that I have fae or little folk in my woods. And if it's not them, then I have some kind of childlike spirit that's out here and kind of related along those lines. This is all stuff that I'm still learning about, so I'm not sure what to call them yet. And we did find out through the history that there's a lost graveyard up towards the front of my property that was an infant graveyard. So, but I don't think that it ties to that, because that was an infant graveyard, whereas what I'm experiencing is something that's very interactive and very high energy. And for some reason, it just, I don't know. Something's just telling me that it's not a human spirit or spirits out here. I think I have something else. So Half Pace Outdoors, we're kind of gonna start going down that road and seeing if I can figure it out. And I'm putting it on my channel because I'm hoping that somebody might come
Sorry.
along.
Sorry.
Man, I'll tell you what. So on Cryptid Cripples, me and my buddy, or I'm not going to tell you where yet. You'll have to go check the channel out and see when we actually we dropped the channel. We've put up I put up a discussion video that I had with him when I was seeing if it was like, you know, is Daniel the person that I want to be doing this with? You know, I wanted to get a good judge on his knowledge and what he actually believed in and doesn't believe in, because they're skeptics. I'm on the skeptic side of things. I just know that I've had things happen that don't make sense. And that's what I want to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
No, I just got banned for searching for that. No, I'm just kidding.
But
no, I mean, I'm right with you on that. And I don't know how Ben feels about it, but we used to do that kind of stuff when we were younger and when we were first hanging out. And I can tell you this one time, and I don't know if he'll remember it with Justin and the rest of us.
Hold on. If he ends this with that band camp, I'm leaving.
No, but we were down at the bottom of a hill, and this was a place that was known to have something going on. We looked up at the top, and there were a bunch of people standing there, bright lights behind them, and they were in like the old fedoras from like the mob days. And we knew Justin wore ones. We're like, yo, Justin, get your butt down here. We said other words. But Justin jumps out of the side. I ninja kicked him in the chest. I'm not going to lie. But there was nobody up there. We don't know who it was up top there, but we know it wasn't these guys because they were, I mean, that was 115 yards up the hill.
Wow.
So we've seen a lot of strange stuff like that, and I always find it interesting. So I'm
We've
sorry.
done some stupid stuff. No, Chris is right. We've done some really stupid stuff. And when I say stupid, we brought out a lot of our own dumbness.
But fun.
See, what has me thinking that it could be possibly something that's in my head that's making me experience these things is because around the time that I started having the major health issues,
Chris, back up for him.
Around the time that I started having these major health issues is when I started having these experiences out in the deep woods places that I go. But what has me thinking that it's not me is because of my experience outdoors, whether it's in the daytime or the night. You know, I am not somebody that's afraid of the woods. And none of the experiences I've had have left me scared, or, well, until last night. Last night I actually got the shit scared out of me. And that was kind of validated by a couple that was also hiking in the area. I'll get to that in a minute. So, you know, I want that validation, whether it's my head and the stress levels that I am under, or if what I'm experiencing is actually happening. And the way things are going, I'm very much inclined to think that it's things that are actually happening. So yeah, me and my buddy launched Cryptid Cripples. We went out a couple weeks ago and we did our first paranormal investigation. We actually got some pretty decent responses on that. So that's a video that's going to be coming up. And when we actually launch the channel, can you guys excuse me 1 second? My kids are coming over to say goodnight.
Absolutely, man. Family first.
Hi, guys.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you.
See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. There's some lightning bugs outside.
There's lightning bugs outside.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
There's
Hey,
people come and see.
I'll check them out when I come over. Okay. Love you.
Love you.
Good night.
Good night.
I see you in the morning.
I see you in the morning.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. You never got to ask us for family, brother. We're family.
Hey.
You got it.
Dad's always first, man.
Yep.
So yeah, me and Daniel are launching Cryptid Cripples. It should be towards the end of this week. And what we're going to do is kind of like a grand opening kind of thing. So we have the discussion video out now, and we're dropping a shorts video every day until the launch. And when we launch, we're going to drop the channel trailer and 2 investigation videos back to back. The second one that we did, we actually went out looking for Sasquatch. Hey, have a good night, Mark. Thanks for coming in, man. And we found a stone circle, like in some pretty deep woods. In that stone, this is the only hint I'll give you guys to that video. We didn't know it at the time, but when I was reviewing footage, we have microphone interference the entire time that we're inside of the stone circle.
Oh, we got to see this.
Yeah, it was one, it was just an uneasy feeling being there, and then once I started hearing the microphone interference, it was like, nah, I think, Daniel, you got to check this out. We might have found something, man. And then we set up a trail cam over some bait, and we had some pretty wild shit happen with the trail camera later that night. So you guys are definitely going to have to check that one out. It's some strange stuff, man.
We'll have to check that out. We could actually do another show on that. Have your buddy get on and tell us a little more about your stuff. That'd be pretty cool. I'm interested in that.
I'm trying to get Daniel more comfortable on camera. He's really like, hey man, yeah, let's do this. Let's make a YouTube channel. But then when I get him on cam, he drops his voice and he starts talking real quiet, and he kind of like, you can see the confidence just get sucked out of him by the camera. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Just be you, man.
Is he like the buzzard in that, when the buzzard gets kissed in the cartoon and he's like, no.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He blushes in front of the camera, and it's just the two of us out there.
You'll have to get a hold of the what is it, Chris? Appalachia CIA.
Cryptid Investigations of Appalachia. CIA.
We had them on. You have to get a hold of them. You guys can work something out. That'd be pretty.
Oh, I'll definitely have to check them out.
There we go.
Yeah, we had them on, so that would be really cool for you guys to get that on.
Oh, absolutely.
So talk to him. He's always looking for new people. He feels the same way you do. So there, hope that helps. We can steer you in a direction, like hopefully that.
Yeah, that's a huge lead, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he just started what, Chris? He started about 2 years ago, but he just started about within a year.
Yeah, something around there.
Where he got started posting stuff and doing stuff. So hopefully that helps you. We can guide you a little, help give you some guidance in it.
I just sent you his page then.
Oh, there you go. See, Chris is on top of his game, man.
Thanks, man.
What we do?
No, we need all the leads that we can get with just starting this stuff off. I mean, like I said, this is something all that I'm just starting to learn, and it's stuff that Daniel has been into his entire life. You know,
so
the Sasquatch. And
sorry, not to interrupt. Are you still gonna shoot videos of the homesteading and the living off the grid and hunting off the land, or are you looking to change out and change over to this permanently?
The homestead stuff and living off of our land is going to come out on my channel more in shorts content.
Okay.
Rather than video form. And that's just because my wife doesn't really want to get back into the whole community like I do. So, and me and my wife are the ones doing this, you know, we're not contracting stuff out or having people in. When we're working on things, it's me and her together. You know, there's I work on stuff through the day when she's not home, but the majority of that is me doing prep work for the stuff that I need the extra hands for when she is home. So we don't really get to film
Sorry, make sure your wife sees you inspire some people here. No, seriously. Like I honestly, you inspire me. I know that I told you the day I met you, I seen you walk with a limp, and I was like, Half Pace Outdoors. And truthfully, your name immediately, without talking to you, without anything, I'm going to shoot it straight to you. I thought, I wonder if that's why he made that name. Right? So that was kind of why I was like, okay, I wonder. Then in our conversation, and again, just like now, the more you've told and the more you gather, I'm like, this is awesome. Like this, whether he intended for it to come together the way it did or not, it did it. It worked. And it inspires people. You just heard what Mark said from OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You know? Take that, man. Run with that. Don't lose that. I always say to Chris, if we inspire one person in what we're doing, it's worth everything. I don't need to be rich or make money.
No, I don't need to be rich. I don't need to make money doing this, man. I'm happy. I'm happy without YouTube being there. But when I get the message from people, you know, hey, your video explaining this to me, and I live with, you know, because I get a lot of spinal cord injury people. So people that like they don't have use of their hands very well, but they still want to get out and string up a tarp and put up a tent and go camping. I've shown how to make and use gear on my channel for people that have limited hand use. And I mean, that's not something that I deal with, but those are the kind of people that I've wanted. I just want to help people find their way back outdoors. At the end of every one of my videos, find your way. Your way is going to be different than somebody else's, but if I can help you find your way, find how you're going to get about doing it, that's what it's all about. That's all I ever wanted out of it. I just wanted to help somebody else find their way back to the woods the way that I had to do it. And I didn't have anybody to instruct me along the way and say, hey, this is the gear to carry. This is the gear not to carry. This is, okay, I have to use catheters to urinate. There is absolutely no information on how to go about doing that in a sterile way while out camping or backpacking. I've put that on my channel. I figured out how to do it. I've got probably 5 to 10 messages. And to me, that might not sound like much to anybody else, but to me, that's absolutely enormous. I've had 5 to 10 messages from people on those catheter videos. Hey, I had no idea. You don't know what you opened up for me. And it's all because now they have somebody to just point them in a direction to figure it out. You know, that's what the whole entire purpose of Half Pace was. That's all I ever wanted out of it.
So you're going to laugh at me, but we usually cut at an hour, 45 minutes. I'm going to cut you right there. And only because what you just ended with sums up everything. Literally your last 3 sentences, I think, was everything people needed to hear. So I hope to God, if anybody's listening, they heard the last 3 sentences that just came out of your mouth. Because you just told everybody what Half Pace is meant to be, what your goals are, and what you want to achieve. And I think that's it. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you continue to go from there, you just might get off track and people are going to lose a point, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody before we cut out. And first, I'm going to invite you back for another round because I love having people on. I love talking about this stuff. Chris and I just love doing this. But before you go, I'm going to ask you the same thing I ask everybody out there. So I hope you're prepared for this. Yours is going to be different than everybody else's. If you had to give that one person advice, that one person, in your sense, you're saying somebody that might be, let's use the word crippled. That was the word you seem to use. You have somebody out there crippled who thinks maybe they can't get outdoors. Maybe they have to give up. Maybe there's no other option. What are you going to throw at them right now? What are you going to end this show with to tell them there is still hope and it can be done? I know I put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. It's kind of a big question, because when you've had to endure things like I do and people like me, it's a mountain that you climb. And it's always easier to walk uphill than downhill. So there's no point in turning back. If you want to get back outdoors, finish climbing your mountain.
Dude, I like that. I always love this part because everybody gives that different advice. I love Chris. I love this part. This is my favorite question I ask in a night. I know it's stupid, but it's my favorite because you never know what's coming out.
That ain't stupid.
And it's my favorite because I just never know what someone's gonna say. What's gonna be that little inspiration sentence you're gonna let with. But I like that. You started to climb your mountain. Don't stop. Keep climbing. It's easier to climb over than to come back down. I love that, man. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. Again, we'd love to talk more. And I'm going to say God bless you, your family. And I'm going to tell you have a great night.
Hey, you guys have a great night too. Thanks for having me on, and God bless, fellas.
God bless. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
See
you.
guys.
Good night.